slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad.
Hello, Aloysius. Hello, everybody. We're back. We're back. We've had such a good break. We have had such a good break, and we have lots and lots of things to talk about. Yes, but first, remember, if you want to support us, you can come along to our shop where we have books and writing services, or you can come along to our Redbubble shop where we have over 100 designs. If you want to support us but you don't want to spend any money, absolutely cool. Like, subscribe, comment and share, and that way you can support us without spending any money. But we have really big news. Oh yes, we also have some really sad news. So yes, I'll tell them. Now, our really sad news is that last week, from when this is, so April, I think it was April 22nd, the great writer and one of our personal favourites, Laura is going to be very upset. One of our great personal favourites, the Queensland writer David Malouf, died. He was 92, so it's not exactly unexpected. But yes, it is terribly sad. We'd like to acknowledge that David Malouf was one of the great Australian writers. He was the great old man of Australian letters at the moment. He had inherited that from Patrick White, and I don't know who he passes that on to, the great older Australian writer. So very sad to see him gone from us. I will add a little playlist of the David Malouf novels that we have looked at. We've looked at about 4 of them. We looked at Ransom, Remembering Babylon, we looked at Fly Away Peter, and we looked at the one about Ovid, An Imaginary Life. So we have already looked at about 4 David Maloufs, and I think that in light of this, I think Laura, when she comes back next, will be doing another David Malouf, possibly his first novel, possibly Jono. We'll have a look at that. So that's our sad news to start out. What is our exciting news? We've been writing. We have been writing. So we took a break. We took the first break that we've ever had in 6 years of doing YouTube. So we'd been doing a video a week for 6 years, and eventually it was decided that we needed a break. So we had a break, and the idea was we were supposed to read books. Yes, that was the idea. Yes, that was the idea. We have been reading one book. We have been rereading one book, yes. And that is Tristram Shandy. So either next week or the week after, her ladyship will be bringing the life and opinions of Tristram Shandy, which she has a completely new view on in light of a second reading. So that should be really interesting. But what have we been doing instead? Well, instead of reading, which we thought we were going to be doing, we have been writing, which is actually really exciting because we finally hit momentum with this book. So we've been working on this for how long? A good 1.5 years, I think. We've been working on this book for a very long time. Certainly getting a lot of writing done. It's been over 1 year of actually sitting down and writing this. A good year of doing a lot of research. Yes, lot of research. But we've finally hit that point where it's like the research, we've done the research and a lot of the research behind us. We've got the resources. We didn't read a lot of books, but we bought a lot of books. I have a pile like this. Yes, it's like 1, 2, 3 Aloysiuses. All very dry, expensive academic textbooks. Yes. Very expensive. Oh my goodness. One book we were really, really lucky to get because we got it on eBay, and you only paid $13 for it plus $10 shipping, which meant like $23. I saw that book for, you would not believe, the cheapest was 10 times that price. I saw it for $300 in some places. These are not cheap books. We were so lucky to get that one. So we've done a whole lot of research or gathered a lot of the research materials. We have been doing research. The very expensive book that it took us 3 goes to get finally arrived. It is on my desk. Had to order that 3 times before it actually arrived. I know. We have not been having great luck, but that one that I got for $23, that was like, oh wow, this is one of those, ooh, the writing gods are liking me. Yes. But what it means is I gathered all this stuff, but all the stuff starts to suggest new avenues. That's the thing that you don't realize quite as much as you'd think it happens. It's a long-term development. Yes, it's a long-term development. One of the advantages of writing as slowly as I do, and there aren't that many advantages of writing as slowly as I do, and is that I have the time to change, to add and change and tweak as I'm going, instead of having to do that as a revision. So no, I haven't thrown out the entire thing. In fact, everything that I had is still in place. What's happened is the finding new work, new research material, and then having the time to start thinking about things and allowing characters to develop allows the book to develop a lot more substance and nuance. Really? Yes. So what it means is what started out as a book that I thought, oh, well, it's going to be a comedy, and these are going to be these characters are types, and they're going to be, to a certain degree, somewhat tropey. All of a sudden, as they start creating extra characters, I had initially thought it was going to be a very, very, very small cast. I think I said this. It was going to be a very small and very, very male cast, and then one of them brings in their partner, their girlfriend, and then we discover that the patron is not a patron but is a patroness, and then there is a sister. And it's not just female characters who've turned up. Then there is a son who I didn't know. How do you not know about a son? How do you not know about a son? Because you didn't know you needed one. You didn't know you needed one. And what it did was these extra characters changed my main character, because what they were doing had to adjust to accommodate these new characters. And because it's not written in stone, it's sort of sitting in my head, because I am not a plotter. I have notes, I take a lot of notes, I write things down, but it's not sort of the same as I write a really detailed plan and stick to that, and that's how I can write massive amounts at a time. I couldn't think of anything more boring. partly because I really question whether you can make those detours and changes when you have something planned out to to the nth degree like that. Although I have done planning, it was actually the planning where I discovered these new characters. It was like, oh, hang on, I need X number of scenes here. I need these number of things happening. I need more stuff happening. Hang on, what about this character who we've mentioned? What if we actually meet them? And then if we meet them, what if, how would that change things? It sounds confusing. It is confusing. It is confusing, and it requires a great deal of mental capacity to manage it, which is part of the reason why I take a long time to write, why I needed a break, why I was actually able to go gangbusters during the holidays, because I had 2 weeks where I did not have to do anything else. So I went from the first chapter took me 6 months to write. The second chapter took me several months to write. The third chapter took me a week and a half to write because I had time to focus. The next chapter is going to, it won't take a week and a half because I'm working again. I'm back teaching, so I don't have that luxury of time, but it's all planned, which is nice. I know what I'm doing. I know where my focus is. It really helps. But what it does mean is that I now know I'm nearly halfway through the book. I'm about 2,000 or 3,000 words off halfway. That means I can be aiming to get this thing out within the next 12 months. So that's really exciting. I have when I know when I want to actually release this, but I also know there are various different things that I want to do in terms of the release, so I know I need to have it ready before that. Yes. What? You really certain you want to announce it? Yes, I'm really certain I want to announce this. But what if? What if? I know that I can get this done. So this book will be out within 12 months from this date. Okay? That's really, really exciting. Partly this is because I no longer have to hunt out research materials. Yay, exactly, yay, very big yay. I honestly thought I had got them all. I thought I had plenty of them. But what happened is as the world got bigger in the book, I needed more stuff and I needed to find it fairly fast. I can tell you that the Cambridge early modern history collection of books, really useful looking at early modern England. Which brings me to another thing, is one of the great things about writing something that is technically historical fiction is all the world building's been done for you. You just have to find it. I think it takes such a load off compared to, some certain genre writing where you have to create the whole world, all that world building. Yes, and if you get someone like me, you've done all that world building and I don't care. That's terrible. I'm not going to appreciate it. Not everyone's going to appreciate it. However, I will rip a book to shreds if it gets its history wrong. And I know the history. I will rip that thing to shreds. Absolutely tear it to pieces. So, everyone has their own particular hobby horse. to remember the book that I'm reading, which is filled with hobby horses. But if you're writing historical fiction, one of the big advantages is the world building has been done for you. However, and this is the caveat that I would give you if you are looking to write historical fiction, the majority of books that are popular history books, easy to read history books, more accessible history books, are useless or comparatively useless. You need to go deeper, and that's where you end up with the expensive academic books. I did see one. I didn't get it. $700. $700 for a book. Yeah, $700 for a book. It was a big legal textbook. I had to find something else because I was not paying $700 for a book. Could not find it anywhere. The only place was that place that was selling it for $700. It was like, no way am I paying that. I'll have to find something else. I did find alternatives. That was cool. That's good. Yes. However, I will tell you, eBay, you want to find academic textbooks and you want to find them without costing an arm and a leg, because their average price is $60 or $70 Australian, which is a little bit less if you've got stronger currencies than ours, but it's still a lot, is eBay. So some of these books were bought by students and they're trying to sell them off, or they've got into secondhand sellers. Absolutely brilliant place to find some of these books if you need them. What about libraries? I know, I should go and say libraries. I am not going to knock the local library that we have, but it's not for me. The fiction selection is not my taste. The reference section is not at a level that I require. I'm not going all the way down to the university down at Nepean to maybe hope that they might have a book. The online of the State Library can be quite useful if you're just after journal articles, I will tell you that. But sometimes the only option is to put your hand in your pocket and buy the books. I mean, you could always resell them. If you really want to. But, if you're writing anyway, chances are you end up finding a niche and you explore that pretty thoroughly, so you're probably going to use the books anyway. And they're a tax write-off. I don't know how much gets written off, but hey, it's a business expense, so we'll take it. So yeah, we've had a lot of progress with the novel, which is so exciting. It's also really exciting when the characters leave the inspiration behind and they're really becoming their own people. That's really useful. That's a really great point to get to when you're writing something. So it's like, okay, yes, I was using Peter Cook, but now my character doesn't need that anchoring anymore because they're now doing their own thing. Their voice is very distinct. I picked a very distinct voice to start with, and so to have separated those two out through the writing process is really helpful. And that doesn't mean that some of the early stuff sounds different. It just means that what I had started with has developed and developed and developed to the point that they're introducing new characters. They are, the way that they interact with new characters is not something I could have initially predicted. The way the new characters behave is not something I initially predicted. Really? No. I mean, I wrote the Patroness, and I just wrote her. I just wrote her. She just turned up, and she's talking, and she's wow, okay. I did not plan you. You just turned up. And then things that they're interested in turn up. And you think, oh, I can really do something with that. That's one of the really surprising things about writing. It's one of the things that you really can't predict will happen. And it's one of the things that, like, you can predict that, yes, they will surprise you. You can't predict how they will surprise you. It is part of the, I think if you're an inexperienced writer, it's very unnerving, because that's when people say, oh, the characters didn't want to do this. They got a mind of their own. They went off in different directions and I had no control over them. When you are more experienced as a writer, yes, when you are more experienced as a writer, you are able to predict that they will do this, and then you're able to run with it. You know that the little writerly self is working away in the back of your mind. It's not that they have become out of control and they want to do these things. It's like, no, they're still going to do the things that you want them to do. However, it might sort of, the tone is going to shift a little bit, or the meaning is going to shift a little bit because of changes that have been made along the way. So you're not in control? No, you are in control. You are in control. It's just that you're not privy to the mechanisms of the development, because a lot of those mechanisms are not happening on a conscious level. They're happening sort of ticking away while you're doing something else. I workshop mentally things as I walk. I walk to work and home from work, and home from work I'm usually pretty tired, but walking to work, I frequently, my mind wanders to them. It just wanders to them. It's like, oh, okay, well, we're going to engage with those characters on our way to work. Well, it's better than, thinking about, oh gosh, what are they going to be like today? Because I have no power over what they're going to be like today, what mood they're going to be in today. All I know is I turn up and I teach them. So I focus on, well, what are the creatures doing? What are my characters doing? And I'll contemplate that for a while before I have a chance to, okay, now I have a day off, I can sit down and write, and then they'll come pouring out, which is wonderful. But that's what we've been doing during our break, which is nice, and it feels nice and productive, and I'm very grateful everybody stuck around and didn't freak out that I was going to have a bit of a break, because I don't do it very often. Once in 6 years, I think you can be forgiven for that. I don't really intend to do it again. I enjoy making videos. I enjoy watching the films and reading the books. It makes me read books when I might otherwise not, because I might just think I'm too tired and I'm just going to sit here and watch garbage television. And so not doing that is a good thing. Yes, not doing that, because it's not that I would sit there and necessarily do virtuous things like always watch good movies or plays or whatever. No, I will sit there and watch garbage television. So, yeah, it's always a good thing to have something that pushes you to that. We do actually, because, because I am writing, we are probably going to do a few more films. I have 3 Fritz Lang films that Caesar really wants to bring for you. It's a really interesting trilogy of films that were made. They're all German films. Caesar is really looking forward to doing those. We're all looking forward to watching the 3 of them, because we finally got all 3 films. We still haven't done Metropolis, so Metropolis is still on the list. Also want to do some, Caesar also wants to do some Michael Winterbottom. Since her ladyship is is re-looking at Tristram Shandy, Caesar will probably have a look at the Tristram Shandy film, the Michael Winterbottom film. We finally got a copy of Butterfly's Kiss. I've seen that once, about 20 years ago, and that was an interesting film. It was his first film. Very hard to get a hold of. It is not exactly popular, but we would like to have a look at that. I know 24-Hour Party People is on the way. And we have various other different films. No, we don't want to do, a whole lot of really popular films. We're sort of more interested in silent things and auteur things and things like that. So you are going to have to bear with while we do some more films. But I think some of those are kind of popular, so that's not bad. Especially since they're unusual films. I'm not going to be bringing you Batman or blockbusters because I don't really watch them. No. So we will have some films. Did see, if you want to see it, The Lost King, the one about Richard III found under the parking lot. That's a good film. Won't do it, but that's a good film if you want a recommendation of something that I saw recently. Her Infernal Majesty will be back with plays, obviously. We have a lot of really obscure plays, and we're sort of debating whether or not we bring some of them, because we bought a whole bunch of plays, Elizabethan plays, not Shakespeare. So if you would like to see something about some of these plays, I think we've done a Marlowe, we may do another Marlowe, we could do some Ben Jonson. Shakespeare's frenemy. So we could do some Ben Jonson, but I also have some other things like some Decker and some other pieces that we got a hold of. So Her Infernal Majesty might bring you some of what else was playing in the theatres when Shakespeare's plays were playing in London. We might bring you some of that. It depends on whether they're, whether they bore us to tears or not, really, ultimately. Yeah, some of the reason why they're obscure is because they're boring. Yeah, sometimes the reason they're obscure is because they're boring. Or they're not very performable, or they've just lost the taste of them. Though I did get the Spanish Tragedy and the Revenger's Tragedy, which are actually quite important for the period. We have some Spanish stuff, which will be interesting. We want to do some more Italian stuff, so that'll be Janus. The Spanish stuff might be Her Ladyship, or I think have to be Her Ladyship. I think it's that old. And we have some stuff on the 30 Years' War. A group of us are going to do a whole bunch of books that all relate to the 30 Years' War. So books and plays and things. So they should be interesting. One is a little bit old, but Her Ladyship will cope, I think. So we have a lot of things planned. Sounds like a lot. Yes, it does sound like a lot. I think Otterline will bring something by William Morris, will be the next thing that she brings. So we've got quite a few things to bring, which should be exciting, and I feel really energized about this, having had a nice break, so that's really nice. But anyway, I think it's about time that we went. That is our little writing update. Thank you again for giving us a chance to have a break. It's been good, but it's also very good to be back, and someone will be back along next week. And until then, bye-bye. De Volkerfinger, ich bin ja, sie suspirai, sa 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 sa. If you would like to support this channel, come across to the Black Cockie Press website, www.blackcockiepress.com.au, where you will find books and other writing services to help with your writing.